In this week's dailies, we go radical at Watkins Glen, in the GR3 cars at Koto, and we take a trip around the Nordschleife. Let's check it out. And here we are, welcome back to the channel. I'm having a look at this week's daily races on GT7. So access on to sport mode as usual. We'll click onto the daily races and let's see what's in store this week. As we click onto daily race A, we're at Watkins Glen, the long course, and in the radical SR3 SL13. So this one is just a 3-lap race around Watkins Glen, 12 cars on the grid. We're on sports, hard tyres, and car settings there says specified. No, not entirely sure what that means, but we're now on to race B, and we're at Koto. In the GR3 cars, we've got 5 laps around here, full grid, 16 cars. We're on racing hard tyres. Brake balance is just allowed, so there's no setup, pretty much a straightforward race on daily race B. And clicking on to daily race C, the Nürburgring 24-hour layout. We're on 4 laps around here. We've got fuel ×2 and tyre wear ×3, with racing medium and racing soft required. So I do think this one might be a little bit chaotic, especially around this layout, as we're in the Red Bull, the X 2019 competition car, and really rapid car. Again, partially allowed in the car settings, so we've got suspension, brake balance, that kind of thing. So if you fancy a trip around the Nordschleife in the Red Bull X 2019, then give that one a go. That's a long race, 4 laps around there. It's going to be pretty much about 25-minute race or something like that. So we're going to concentrate on Watkins Glen on daily race A. We're going to do time trial for this one, so we're going to select the cars. We've got this one in the garage already, and we're going to make sure we've got our sports hard tyres on. Click on qualifying time trial, and away we go. So for this one, on assists, we've got traction control on 0, counter steer we have off, and ABS running on weak. Which weak to me felt better than default in this one, so we can have a play with that and see what suits you best. So have a look at the lap itself. Just slow it down for you, as we're going to come to that 300 board as a reference. We're braking just after that, but kind of where the grass meets the tarmac, that's where we want to be braking. You can see just there as it reaches matches the tarmac. We're going to come down to 3rd gear, and then we're going to shift back up to 4th and get as early as you can on this accelerator, but be careful of the track limit. So we can see the curb, or the edge of the curb there is your track limit, so make sure you've got 2 tyres to the right hand side of that. Very important now, from 4th gear, make sure you double shift up to 6th gear. Now that is very important, and it does save you time along this long straight. Very important to get that one right. It's come to this very tricky bus stop chicane, looking for that 300 board on the left hand side. Then we're going to kind of brake just level with that. We're going to come down to 5th gear, get as close to this barrier on the right hand side, because this just opens up the bus chicane. A little dab of the brakes into 4th, you can cut as much of that as you can get away with. Careful again, track limits on here. Very easy to get a penalty in that section. The car kind of straightens up. As you go into this long curve, we're just tapping the brakes. What we're going to do, we're going to use this pole on the right hand side as a reference to where we can accelerate. As you can see, as we get level with that, we're going to hit the accelerator. We're going to hold that inside line as much as you can. Remember, I'm on sports hard tyres, so these things don't grip that much. Downhill left-hander, looking at the 200 board on the right hand side. We're going to brake in as we get to that. Hold in 3rd gear, trail these brakes in, and let the car rotate round. And then we're going to accelerate into 4th gear. We're going to hook the inside there. It's quite cambered, so it's nice. Get a nice little drive. If you get that right on the inside, hook that up nicely. This rounder now, we're looking for that 2nd Gran Turismo board on the left hand side. We're going to brake just after there. We're going to brake in a straight line, start turning into 2nd gear. We're going to change back up to 3rd. You can get an accelerator quite early here. Accelerate out into 3rd, up into 4th on this back straight. So half a lap gone, and the last technical sections come. As we're looking for that 200 board on the left hand side, we're going to brake in after that 200 board. Brake in a straight line for as long as you can. We're going to hold 3rd gear. As you turn in, get an accelerator really early. You can use all the curb on the exit as well. Again, for this left-hander, we're looking for that 100 board again. We're braking just before here. This is a difficult corner to get this one right. initially hit the brakes hard, then we can release the brakes and kind of let the car rotate around. But be very careful on the throttle here. This corner is like it's off camber. Really easy to spin the car on that corner there, so be very careful. One to look out for. This quick left-hander, we're looking for the 100 board. Now you can just let off the accelerator here, but we have a little dab of the brakes just to make sure we get that nose pointed in, which lets us get on the throttle a little bit earlier. Run all the way to the right-hand side. Next braking reference, we're looking at where the barrier changes colour. As that goes out of shot, we're going to just dab the brakes into 4th gear, stay in 4th. Hook the inside of that curve, get an accelerator as early as you can. Be careful and exit not to hit that wall. So, fairly decent lap, and we come across the line for a 2:01.733. So, at the time of the recording, that put us top 10 in the world, in P7 at the time. So, we're around about half a second off the world record there, so a lot more time to gain on that one. But this one, I think Daily Race A might be quite fun. So we'll look at the chase cam, and it's going to show you exactly how much of these track limits you can actually abuse. You can hook on the inside and the right hand side there, look how far we come left, you can really get away with that, but be very careful. Just staying inside the track limits on that one. Door shift up to 6th gear, that is very important. If you stay in 5th, you can lose pretty much about a 1/10 of a second of going to this straight. So yeah, this Radical, nice car to drive, but you have to be in kind of strange gears coming out the corners, which you don't think is going to work, but for some reason it does pull a lot better in certain corners. But stop chicane, gets close to the barrier, to 4th, turning there quite nicely, did that quite nicely actually. Come across here, a little dab of the brakes to get this front nose pointed in, look out for that pole on the right hand side, get an accelerator. We could have got an accelerator a little bit earlier. Come to this downhill left hander, hit the brakes in 3rd, kind of trail him in, release the brakes. Get on the power in 4th gear. Better to stay in 4th then, because then you don't have to change all the way down to this next right hander. Go down to 3rd. 2nd, just get that extra bit of rotation and straight back up into 3rd again. Hit the accelerator hard. Use all the track on the exit. Come to a little back straight now. So you're hitting brake as late as you can for this one, because you can turn in quite late. It's got to be late apex for this corner. Allows you then to get on the throttle really early, and this is a really awkward corner. As mentioned before, it's off camber, so be very careful. Hit the brakes, just let it rotate around, kind of feed that throttle in nicely. As soon as you're confident enough, plant it. Couple more corners to go. Fast left here, look for that 100 board, tip it in, little tap of the brakes. You don't necessarily need to do that, but I like to do that just to get the nose pointed in a little bit easier. We're on a decent lap, so I thought why not. And then stay in 4th gear for that final right, and we stay in 4th as I run to the line, but normally I'll change it to 5th gear there as well. So fairly solid lap. As we finish with Daily Race A, we're going to go across now to Daily Race B. Kyoto, as mentioned before, in the GR3 cars. So we're going to have a look at what car we're going to choose, and we're going for the M6 GT3 Endurance Model 16. Run racing hard tyres as mentioned before, so make sure we go over there. We've got the racing hard tyres on. Click on time trial, and right, and we'll get into this one. So assists, we've got no traction control on this one. Counter steer running on strong, just help that stability. ABS running on weak, and brake balance we've got +3 to the rear. Tried +5, but it's a little bit oversteery, so we went down to +3, and that felt pretty much decent. So coming to the first corner, looking for that 50 board on the right hand side. As we reach that board, we're going to tap the brakes. We're only using about 50% of the brake on this left hander. We're going to come down to 3rd. What we're going to try and do, you're going to stay inside this curb. You need to stay inside this curb to hook you around the corner. As you can see, we come out of that curb a little bit there, which lose a little bit of time. Delays getting on the throttle a little bit. But if you're going to hook that inside curb, it really lets you go around that corner nicely. This section absolutely flat out. Make sure that you're hitting those inside curves again, just to help the car rotate around there nicely. First sector is a 0.5, so not a good first sector. I've actually done a 0.3 there before. So next one, we're looking at the kind of starting of the curb there. We're going to again just under 50% brake. We're going to come down to 3rd gear to get the extra bit of rotation again. Try and hook that inside curb if you can. Stay into 4th gear and power out the corner. Looking to 5th. Very difficult one coming up now. This is micro brake in this lap. Absolute nightmare. So looking for that 100 board on the right hand side. We're braking before we get to that 100 board. That's very important as well. And look how much track you can actually use. So kind of the inside of that curb is your track limit, so you can get 2 wheels either side of the grass and that curb. And the same applies to the rest of the chicane. You can really abuse these curbs, and that is the best thing to do to get a decent time, but it's so easy to get a penalty and so easy for the back end to come round or lose control. So it kind of feels like a bit hit and miss, that chicane, to be honest. So next braking point, we're looking at where these letters kind of end. As soon as you reach the end of those letters on the track, we're going to hit the brakes, go down to first gear, come off those brakes, and the car rotate around, go into second. Careful on that throttle on the accelerator. Next little tricky right-hander coming. As we kind of start to that fence on the right hand side, as that comes out of shot, we're just going to hit the brakes, a little dab of the brakes, and turn in a little bit late there. You can turn in a lot earlier, which then allows you to get on that throttle a lot earlier as well. So we're staying in third gear. Go to the last corner, looking for the 50 board on the left hand side. As we get level with that, hit the brakes. We're going to come down to first gear. Let that car just roll around that corner. Double shift into third to get the extra bit of traction around the corner. And that's the lap. So, I mean, it's an okay lap. Pretty decent. A lot more time to gain in this lap. Especially if you get those curbs hooked right. We're coming across for 32.697. Which at the time of the recording puts us 30th in the world. But I think that will drop quite significantly during the week. But it's a guide to help improve, so if it does help you, let me know. Like and subscribe to the channel. Look at the chase cam, and we'll show you just what you need to do with these curves. You need to really hook the inside. You can see we just come out of there, which then delays us to getting that throttle a bit. Next section, nice little section, absolutely flat out. Look, turn it in, use those curves on the right, on the left, and on the right again. So these left-handers is all about keeping the minimum speed as high as you can and using the inside of these curbs. Again, we just come out of there, but we didn't do that too bad. Again, careful not to drift out too wide on the right-hand side there. You don't want to get your tyres too dirty, because coming to this corner is very important to get this one right. Brake a little bit earlier, and you can turn in quite early to this one, as you can take a lot of that. Look how much curb you can take. It doesn't really matter if you get 2 wheels on the grass there. It doesn't really affect the dirty tyres coming to this next corner. Use the edge of this right-in. As you get to the end of that right-in, hit the brakes. Down to first gear. Second, be careful on that throttle in second gear, because the car will spin if you plant it. This next tricky little left-hander. Tap the brakes, and we're going to be turned in a little bit too late there. We can get the throttle a lot earlier than that. But that is the lap. And that's what the dailies are looking like this week. So I think daily race A looks like quite fun. Even though it's only kind of 3 laps around Watkins Glen, it would be nice if that was like a 4 or 5 lap race. But that looks quite fun. This one I think might be okay as well. A straightforward race, 5 laps around here. But I do think, yeah, with those penalties and that chicane, could be a bit of a pain and could get quite frustrating. But let me know what you guys think. I mean, whether you guys want to attack Daily Race C this week or completely leave it, I think that's going to be a death certificate. That's going to be chaos around there in that car. But let me know what you guys think of this week's dailies. Let me know which ones that you're going to be racing on this week. But for now, that's me done. I'll leave you as usual with the replay. We've got a lot more of these on the channel as well. So we've got daily race track guides to earn you 2 million credits, and also races from the RTR League Racing as well. Also started to put chapters on the videos, which is quite helpful, so you can skip to the part that you want to watch the most of, so whether it be track guides for Daily Race A, Daily Race B, or any other part of the video. Again, let me know if it does help. With me guys, I'm out, and I'll see you all on the next one. Laters.